sensacional. Ronaldinho faz, Ronaldinho.
Primeira memória, a bola. A bola, eu posso dizer que é o grande amor da minha vida. Quando eu tô com a bola, o mundo para.
He dribbled, he scored, he danced, he entertained, and he did it all with a huge smile on his face. This man made a whole generation fall in love with football. He had no haters, and even got standing ovations from his most bitter rivals. His name is Ronaldinho. And today we'll be telling you about how this magician changed football forever. He was born in Porto Alegre, Brazil, into a footballing family. His father played for a local club, while his older brother played for different clubs around the world, including Grêmio, Sporting CP, and Montpellier. Now, it's important to note that he was born Ronaldo de Assis Moreira. He got the name Ronaldinho when he started playing football at the tender age of 8 and began to dazzle. He was often the youngest and smallest in the group, which was why Inho, which means small in Portuguese, was added to his name. Since then, he's gone by his nickname Ronaldinho. But life wasn't easy for Ronaldinho at the beginning. His parents were poor, and to make matters worse, his dad drowned when he was just 8 years old. So, with no dad and little to no resources, all Ronaldinho had was football. So, he directed all his focus to it. He started out playing futsal and beach football before then switching to football proper. And then, at the age of 13, he blew up after scoring all 23 goals in a 23-0 win against a local youth team. Having joined the Grêmio Academy in 1987, Ronaldinho eventually made his senior team debut in 1998 at the age of 18. In a couple of years, he grew to be the hottest stuff out of Brazil, and everyone in Europe wanted him. Arsenal came close to signing him in 2001, but he was unable to get a work permit, so the whole thing crashed. Then there were talks about him joining Scottish side St Mirren on loan, but that too fell through. Do you know why? Because he'd previously been involved in a fake passport scandal in Brazil. But when it looked like he would not be leaving Brazil in 2001, PSG came in and paid 5 million euros for him, bringing him over to Europe for the first time. The first half of the season was slow for him, as he was in and out of the starting lineup. But in January 2002, he entered a different gear. He scored in every single league game in January, finishing with 4 goals and 2 assists in that month. He would end up with 9 goals and 7 assists in 28 League One appearances that season. That was very impressive for a player who was playing his first season in Europe. And considering he started only 19 games that season, it was even more impressive. But it wasn't all lovely. Ronaldinho was involved in some off-pitch drama. The PSG coach said that the Brazilian was too focused on the nightlife in Paris, and his holidays in Brazil used to go on for longer than scheduled. This was a real issue, no doubt, and people feared that it could affect his status at PSG. But Ronaldinho then went to the 2002 World Cup with Brazil, and you know what happened. He formed a lethal partnership with Ronaldo and Rivaldo, which was dubbed the 3 Rs, and they had a brilliant tournament. For Ronaldinho, the quarter-final against England stood out for so many reasons. He created Brazil's equalizer in additional time in the first half, and in the second half, he scored one of the greatest free kicks in World Cup history, which turned out to be the winner. Guess what? 7 minutes after scoring that absolute banger, he was sent off, which means that he missed the semi-final. But he was back for the final and was able to help Brazil win their record 5th World Cup. After such a tournament, Ronaldinho returned to France as a king. All the issues about his partying were long forgotten. And in fact, he was given the number 10 jersey ahead of what was just his 2nd season at the club. And he rewarded the faith the club put in him so perfectly. He finished that season with 12 goals and 12 assists in 37 appearances. But more importantly, he became a much more entertaining footballer. His goal against Guingamp, where he dribbled from the halfway line to the box and finished with a chip, was named League One Goal of the Season. But despite Ronaldinho's brilliance, PSG finished 11th in the table and failed to qualify for Europe. So the Brazilian insisted on leaving. And guess who was standing by to snatch him up? Yeah, you guessed right, FC Barcelona. Manchester United also wanted him that summer, but Barcelona outbid them, agreeing to pay 30 million euros and landing him in the summer of 2003. He was given the number 10 jersey and was heralded as the signing that would lead Barcelona to the forefront of the footballing world. And well, from the very beginning, he started to do just that. Ronaldinho's first La Liga goal was an absolute screamer, and it came in a big game against Sevilla. He received the ball from his goalkeeper in his half, drove into the opposition half and unleashed a shot from 30 yards out which hit the inside of the crossbar, bounced off the ground and into the net. You could see the reaction all around the stadium. Everyone knew they were witnessing greatness. His first European goals for Barcelona came in threes. He scored a hat-trick against Buchov in the first round of the UEFA Cup in October. Sadly, he got injured in November, and in his absence, Barcelona dropped to 12th in the table. But he came back in December, scored 11 goals, and provided 4 assists to drag Barcelona to a second-place finish. He finished that campaign with 33 goal contributions in 45 appearances. For the brilliant campaign he had, he was named in the UEFA Team of the Year and was named FIFA World Player of the Year. But guys, that was just the beginning. We thought we'd seen the best of Ronaldinho. I mean, he'd already won the World Cup and the FIFA World Player of the Year award, but he'd not even reached his peak. His peak was absolutely bonkers, and we'll tell you about it in a bit. But if you're enjoying this video so far, help the channel out by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. It really means a lot to us. Now, let's talk about Ronaldinho's peak. If you thought his first season at Barcelona was great, check out his second season. Barcelona captain Carles Puyol said Ronaldinho came and gave Barcelona their spirit back. He made them smile again. He continued to dazzle and entertain, even more than ever before. It was this season that he scored that brilliant goal from outside the box against Chelsea in the Champions League. Towards the end of that season, he did something super significant in the history of football. He assisted Lionel Messi's first ever goal for Barcelona on the 1st of May 2005. And looking back at that day, it feels like a handover moment. Ronaldinho ended that season with 30 goal contributions in 42 appearances, helping Barcelona win La Liga. He was now entering his peak. In 2005, Ronaldinho won a host of awards. He picked up the first ever FIFA World Player of the Year award, was named European Player of the Year, was named in the FIFA World 11, and won the FIFA World Player of the Year award yet again, becoming the only third player at the time to win the award more than once, after Ronaldo and Zidane. He then crowned it all with the Ballon d'Or. It was an amazing year for him, but he still wasn't done. The following season, he still managed to produce. On the 19th of November 2005, he scored 2 goals at the Santiago Bernabeu to help Barcelona secure a 3-0 win against their arch-rivals Real Madrid. After his second goal, he got a standing ovation from the Real Madrid home fan. This is something that rarely ever happened. In fact, at the time, Diego Maradona was the only Barcelona player who'd ever received a standing ovation from the Bernabeu crowd, so he was in elite company. That season, with 50 goal contributions in 46 appearances in all competitions, Ronaldinho was able to lead Barcelona to a league title and only their second ever Champions League title. It was a truly phenomenal season for the Brazilian, and as expected, the awards came pouring in again. He was named UEFA Club Footballer of the Year, finished as the Champions League and La Liga top assist provider, and was named FIFA World Footballer of the Year. He was on his way to winning his second Ballon d'Or in as many years, but the 2006 World Cup did him no favors. He failed to score at the tournament, and Brazil got knocked out in the quarter-finals. I mean, he was still dazzling, and his performances were enough to earn him the bronze ball of the tournament. But having failed to go far at the World Cup, he finished 4th at the Ballon d'Or. Every other player who made the top 5 had reached the World Cup final that year. He also finished 3rd at the FIFA World Player of the Year awards. But the 2005-2006 season was what cemented Ronaldinho's place as a Barcelona legend. Numbers-wise, that was the best season of his entire career, and he was able to win Barcelona their first Champions League title in 14 years. So it sort of signaled the start of a new era of success for the club. The following season, he came so close to winning La Liga again, but having finished with the same points as Real Madrid, Barcelona ended up missing out on their head title-to-head record, which must have hurt. Anyway, that was the last good season for Ronaldinho in Spain. The 2007-2008 season was his worst in a Barcelona shirt. He missed about half the season due to injuries, and without him, Barcelona did very poorly all around. They got knocked out by Man United in the semi-finals of the Champions League, got knocked out by Valencia in the semi-finals of the Copa del Rey, and finished 3rd in La Liga behind Real Madrid and Villarreal. It just wasn't good. Many people blamed Ronaldinho's physical decline on a reduced level of dedication in training and his partying lifestyle. But come on, He was still the best player in the world, and Barcelona was surely going to trust him for another couple of seasons, right? Wrong. Pep Guardiola was hired as Barcelona coach in 2008, and one of the first things he did was to put Ronaldinho up for sale. It was controversial at the time, especially for a coach with no experience at the top level, but as you know, it proved to be worth it. Anyway, Ronaldinho was still one of the most wanted players in the world. Manchester City were ready to pay £25.5 million for him and give him $200k every week, but he turned it down and moved to AC Milan instead. The first season in Milan was average, and people thought he was finished, but he turned up in his second season and showed the world that he still had that magic. He finished with 34 goal contributions in 43 appearances in all competitions in the 2009-10 season and was the top assist provider in the Serie A. He began the 2010-11 season at Milan, and with 3 assists in 11 Serie A appearances, he did enough to earn a Serie A medal, despite leaving to return to Brazil halfway into the season. Yes, he was now in his 30s and had lost a bit of his magic, but Ronaldinho was still one of the most sought-after players in the world in 2011. Clubs from the Premier League, MLS and Brazil wanted him, but he chose to join Flamengo, saying a permanent goodbye to European football. After a short while in Flamengo, he moved to Atletico Mineiro, where he won the Copa Libertadores to become the only player in football history to win all 6 of the World Cup, Copa America, Confederations Cup, Champions League, Copa Libertadores, and the Ballon d'Or. This man completed football in a way nobody's been able to in the history of the sport. And you know what made this even better? He did all of that while also being an out-and-out entertainer, a proper showman. He was always a joy to watch anytime he stepped onto the pitch, bringing elements of street football to the biggest stage of the sport and inspiring multiple generations of footballers. Brazilians have a phrase for football, joga bonito, which means the beautiful game. And it's hard to think of another player who's embodied that term as much as Ronaldinho. He made the game look so beautiful with his skills and flair. The smile he carried on his face and the way his hair danced in the wind while he dribbled through defenses was a sight fans always looked forward to week in, week out. Now guys, if you watched Ronaldinho, get in the comments and tell us what your all-time favorite Ronaldinho moment is. We know there's an insane lot to pick from, so feel free to share as many as possible. Anyway, remember we said earlier that Ronaldinho completed football? Well, he's not the only one who's done that. Do you want to know which other players have completed football? Click on this link and we'll tell you about them all.